My dear friends, my beloved brothers and sisters in the Lord, I want to ask you something today, a question I have carried with me for more than 30 years as I have studied the Word of God and the ancient wisdom of our faith. Are you truly ready to receive the truth today? I said, are you ready to receive? Because what I am about to share with you is not simply another sermon. It is not just another teaching that you hear today and forget tomorrow. This is a powerful truth that can completely change the way you see your financial life. So I want you to do something right now. Go to the comments and type these words, I am ready to receive. Type them right now, I am ready to receive. When you make a declaration with faith, you are making a clear decision within yourself that you are prepared to listen, learn, and act on what God places before you. You are saying that you will no longer remain trapped in the same patterns. You are opening your heart to a new understanding of what may be possible. So type it now. I am ready to receive. And stay with me, because what comes next may be the part you have been waiting to hear for a very long time. Now let me ask you another question. How many of you are working harder than ever, yet you still feel like you are struggling financially? You wake up every morning carrying a weight inside you. You check your bank account and your heart drops because the numbers do not seem to change. You work long hours, you sacrifice your rest, you give up valuable time with the people you love. You do everything the world tells you to do, yet when the month comes to an end, there is still more month left than money. You look around and see people who seem to have less ability than you, less experience than you, and sometimes even less effort than you, yet somehow they are moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place. You wonder what you are missing. You wonder why your prayers seem delayed. You wonder why your hard work has not produced the results you expected. If you have ever felt this way, listen carefully, because this next part matters. Sometimes the problem is not that you are unwilling to work. Sometimes the problem is that you have never been taught how to think differently about what you already have. I understand that struggle because I have experienced seasons when the numbers did not make sense. I was 23 years old. I had completed my studies and spent years learning the sacred teachings of my faith. I could remember long passages. I could discuss difficult questions. I had knowledge in my mind, but my financial life was still empty. I was educated, but I was broke. I remember sitting one evening in my grandfather's study. He was one of the most financially successful people in our community, but his story did not begin with wealth. He had started with very little. He had entered a new country with almost nothing and faced obstacles that could have stopped him completely. Yet over time, he built something remarkable. He became respected, stable, and financially secure. One evening, I finally found the courage to ask him the question that had been troubling me for years. I said, "Grandfather, I do not understand. I study, I pray, I follow the commandments, I am doing what I have been taught to do. So why does money seem to disappear from my life?" He looked at me for a long moment. He did not answer immediately. Then he reached for an old text and pointed toward a passage. He said, "Read this carefully and do not stop until you understand what it is really teaching you." I took the word seriously. That night became a turning point in my thinking. Over the months that followed, I began to understand principles I had never seen clearly before. I realized that financial change is not always about working more hours. It is not always about chasing every opportunity. Sometimes it begins with changing the way you understand responsibility, wisdom, discipline, generosity, and the resources already placed in your hands. Within 6 months of applying what I had learned, my financial situation began to change dramatically. I went from worrying about basic expenses to seeing opportunities I had previously overlooked. I learned how to manage what came into my hands instead of constantly wondering why more was not coming. I learned that faith does not mean sitting still and waiting for everything to happen. Faith can move you to act with courage, wisdom, patience, and purpose. And today I want to share these principles with you in a simple way. But I need you to stay with me, because there is one part of this message that many people miss. If you understand it, you may begin looking at your money, your work, and your future from a completely different perspective. Do not click away yet. The next lesson may be the one that connects everything together. For generations, people have searched for answers about prosperity, provision, and financial stability. Ancient teachers spent years discussing how people should handle wealth, work, generosity, responsibility, and opportunity. These teachings were not simply about becoming rich. They were about learning how to live with wisdom and purpose. And I believe those principles are especially important today. Families are facing higher costs. Everyday necessities are becoming more expensive. Many people are working harder while feeling less secure. Uncertainty is everywhere. People are asking, how am I going to get ahead? How am I going to provide for my family? How can I build something that lasts? These are real questions, but there are also real principles that can guide us. If this message is speaking to you, take a moment and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Every week we explore timeless wisdom, practical principles, faith, discipline, and lessons that can help you see your life with greater clarity. And remember this, your current financial situation does not have to be the final chapter of your story. Stay with me, because we are only beginning to uncover the truth that can change the way you approach your future. Teachings from the Talmud, the Kabbalah, and the Zohar. Teachings that were protected and discussed quietly for generations. Teachings that many people never had the opportunity to study. So do not miss what comes next. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new message. Now let me tell you about one of the biggest inner patterns that can stand between you and financial peace. I know what you may be thinking. You might think it is murder. You might think it is theft. You might think it is idolatry. But listen carefully, because the answer may surprise you. One of the most damaging sins is something so common that you may be struggling with it right now without even noticing. Do you want to know what it is? It is envy. In Hebrew, it is called kina. And I know what some of you are thinking. Envy, that is all. I came here expecting something much deeper. But that reaction is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Envy rarely announces itself. It hides behind ordinary thoughts. It can look like motivation. It can sound like ambition. It can even disguise itself as healthy competition. But when comparison takes control of your heart, something begins to change inside you. And if you stay with me, I will show you why this simple emotion can have such a powerful effect on the way you see your money, your opportunities, and your life. The Torah gives a serious warning about envy, desire, and the endless pursuit of honor. It teaches that these forces can pull a person away from a meaningful life. Think about that for a moment. Not simply make life harder, not simply create frustration, but pull you away from the life you are meant to live. Now let me explain the spiritual picture, because this is where the teaching becomes especially interesting. In mystical Jewish thought, a person can be understood as having a unique spiritual vessel, a capacity for receiving and carrying what has been given to them. Your path is not identical to another person's path. Your gifts are not identical. Your responsibilities are not identical. Your opportunities are not identical. You are not designed to live someone else's life. When you constantly envy another person, you begin mentally leaving your own path and trying to live inside theirs. You start measuring your portion against their portion. You look at their house, their career, their business, their relationships, their possessions, and you ask, why do they have that and I do not? But here is the problem. Their life was not assigned to you. Their journey was not designed for you. Their opportunities may not fit your purpose. So while you are staring at someone else's portion, you can completely overlook what has already been placed in your own hands. This is why comparison can create such a deep feeling of emptiness. A person can earn more money and still feel poor. They can become successful and still believe they are behind. They can build a business, purchase beautiful things, and reach goals they once dreamed about, yet still look at someone else and say, I wish I had what they have. The problem is no longer the amount of money. The problem is the measuring system inside the mind. If your definition of wealth depends on being ahead of someone else, you will never feel wealthy for long. There will always be another person with more, another person with a bigger home, another person with a larger audience, another person with a better opportunity. And if you allow envy to lead you, every new success around you becomes a reminder of what you think you lack. Ancient wisdom warns against this mindset because it can slowly damage your peace, your relationships, your confidence, and even the decisions you make with money. So listen carefully. The next time you feel that burning question, why them and not me? Stop for a moment. Ask a better question. What has God placed in my hands and what am I supposed to do with it? That question can change everything. There is an ancient teaching that warns that envy can affect a person deeply, even reaching the very foundation of their well-being. The point is not simply physical. It is about what happens when the heart becomes consumed by comparison. Think about the moment when you see someone else's success and suddenly feel that pressure in your chest. Your stomach tightens, your mind starts racing. A quiet voice says, they do not deserve that. Why did they get it? Why am I still waiting? If you let that thought grow, it can change your entire emotional state. You stop being grateful for what you have. You stop noticing opportunities around you. You begin making financial decisions from frustration instead of wisdom. You may spend money just to prove something. You may take risks because you cannot stand watching someone else succeed. You may reject a good opportunity because it does not look impressive enough compared with somebody else's life. This is how envy can quietly become expensive. It does not have to be supernatural to cause damage. Sometimes the consequences are very practical. You lose focus, you waste time, you make emotional decisions. You stop building your own path because you are too busy watching someone else's. And most people repeat this cycle again and again without realizing what is happening. They wonder why they feel behind. They wonder why opportunities keep passing them. They work harder, but they never stop to ask whether their direction is actually wise. Stay with me because now we are going to talk about why some of the most common financial strategies fail when they are built on fear and comparison. First, people try to solve every financial problem by simply working harder. They take extra jobs, they accept more hours, they stay busy from morning until night, they hustle constantly, they grind until they are exhausted. Work is valuable and honest effort matters, but working harder without wisdom can leave you tired without moving you forward. Ancient teachings also remind us that income and provision involve factors beyond human control. Your responsibility is to work faithfully, make wise choices, and use what you receive well. Exhaustion by itself is not a financial strategy. Second, some people believe the only answer is to save every possible coin. They cut everything. They live with constant fear. They refuse every reasonable expense because they believe spending anything means losing wealth. But discipline is not the same as panic. Saving can be wise, but saving from constant fear can make money control you instead of serving you. Third, people chase quick solutions. They jump from one scheme to another: crypto, day trading, gambling, lottery tickets, promises of overnight wealth. They want a shortcut because they are tired of waiting, but lasting prosperity is rarely built through shortcuts. It is usually built through patience, discipline, knowledge, good decisions, useful work, and consistent habits. If you want the truth that can actually help you, do not chase the loudest promise. Learn the principles that survive after the excitement disappears. I have spent decades studying the Torah, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, and the ancient teachings surrounding faith, responsibility, work, and provision. My family has a long history of religious study, and through those teachings I learned that wisdom is not something you simply collect in your mind. It must become part of how you live. Ancient teachers were not simply guessing about human behavior. They observed patterns across generations. They discussed them. They challenged them. They preserved lessons that they believed were important for future generations. And today, I want to bring those principles to you in language that is simple and practical. I am not asking you to believe every dramatic claim you hear online. I am asking you to examine your own heart. Look at your relationship with money. Look at your relationship with success. Look at what happens inside you when somebody else receives the blessing you wanted. That reaction may reveal something important. And now we are getting to the practical part. I want to share a powerful exercise that can help you confront envy and replace comparison with gratitude, focus, and purposeful action. But before I reveal it, you need to understand what can happen when a person stops allowing comparison to control their decisions. I have heard stories of people who changed their financial direction after changing their mindset. Single parents who moved from constant financial stress toward greater stability. People later in life who stopped believing their best years were behind them and began building again. Families who stopped chasing appearances and started making wiser financial decisions. These transformations did not happen because of a magic formula. They happened because their thinking changed, their choices changed, and over time, their results began to change. And the practice I am about to share begins with one simple decision. Stop asking why someone else has their portion and start asking what you can faithfully build with yours. I have seen people who thought their financial future was over suddenly discover opportunities they never imagined were possible. I have seen young business owners whose companies were close to collapse find new direction and begin rebuilding within a short period of time. Every one of these stories had something in common. They stopped allowing comparison, fear, and resentment to control their decisions, and they committed themselves to a new way of thinking and living. Now, if this message is speaking directly to your heart, share this video with someone you love who is struggling financially right now. Someone in your family may need this encouragement. A friend may be silently carrying a burden. A neighbor may be wondering how they will make it through the month. We are living through difficult times, and people need wisdom, hope, discipline, and faith more than ever. So share this message with your friends and family. Hit the share button right now and make sure you are subscribed to this channel. If you have not subscribed yet, click that button and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the teachings we bring every week. And stay with me, because now I want to give you a simple reflective practice designed to help you confront envy and reopen your mind to gratitude, purpose, and wise action. Let me give you the method. This is not something you should treat as a magic formula or a guaranteed way to make money appear. Think of it as a serious personal reflection exercise based on themes of self-examination, gratitude, faith, and letting go of comparison. You will need 4 simple things. The first is a mirror. In many spiritual traditions, a mirror represents self-reflection and honesty. You cannot change something you refuse to see. The mirror gives you a chance to face yourself without excuses. It removes the image you try to present to other people and gives you a quiet moment to consider who you really are right now. When you look into the mirror during this practice, do not focus only on your appearance. Think about your inner life. Think about your thoughts. Think about your fears. Think about the things that trigger comparison inside you. The second thing you need is a glass of clean water. Water has long been used as a symbol of cleansing, renewal, and life. Use ordinary clean drinking water at a comfortable temperature and place it in a clear glass. The purpose is not that the glass itself has supernatural power. The purpose is to create a simple physical reminder of the inner change you are choosing to make. And if you are still with me, keep listening, because the next two items are where this practice becomes even more personal. The third thing you need is a small piece of paper and a pen. You are going to write something specific on this paper, and I will tell you exactly what to write in just a moment. Writing has always been a powerful way to turn vague thoughts into clear intentions. When you put something on paper, you can see it instead of allowing it to remain hidden inside your mind. The fourth thing you need is a candle. Across many spiritual traditions, fire represents light, awareness, transformation, and renewal. Use a candle safely and place it somewhere stable, away from anything that can catch fire. The flame can become a visual reminder that destructive thoughts can be examined and released instead of carried forever. Now we come to the practice itself. First, stand in front of the mirror in the morning when you have a quiet moment. Look directly into your own eyes. Do not rush. Do not perform for yourself. Simply remain still for about 60 seconds. You may feel uncomfortable. That is okay. You may notice thoughts you normally avoid. You may remember people you compare yourself with. You may feel frustration about money or regret about choices you made. Do not panic and do not condemn yourself. Simply notice what appears. The goal is awareness. You cannot change a pattern that you never recognize. Next, while looking into your own eyes, speak aloud the situations where envy or comparison has affected you. Be honest. You might say, I feel jealous of this person because of their house. You might say, I compare myself with that person because of their business. You might admit, I feel behind when I look at my brother's success. You might say, I compare my life with my neighbor's car, career, or lifestyle. Say what is true for you. Do not exaggerate. Do not insult yourself. Do not turn this into self-hatred. You are simply naming the feeling so you can understand it. There is power in bringing hidden thoughts into the open. Once you can name a pattern, you can begin choosing a different response. Then light the candle and place it safely beside the mirror. Let the flame remind you that awareness can bring light into places you normally keep hidden. Take your paper and write these words, I release the envy and comparison I have been carrying. I accept my portion with gratitude. I can celebrate another person's success without believing that their success takes something away from me. I trust God to guide my steps, my timing, and my decisions. Then write your name and today's date. The purpose of writing is to make your commitment visible. You are putting your decision into words so you can return to it when old feelings appear again. Now hold the paper near the glass of water without putting it into the water. Read your words aloud 3 times. 3 repetitions can help you slow down and give full attention to what you are saying. As you repeat the words, do not simply rush through them. Think about each sentence. When you say, I release comparison, think about the person you have been comparing yourself with. When you say, I accept my portion, think about the opportunities already in your hands. When you say, I can celebrate another person's success, imagine yourself genuinely wishing them well. Then place the folded paper beneath the glass. Let the water simply serve as a reminder of the clean, renewed mindset you are choosing. And now comes the part that matters most. Drink the water slowly and safely. As you drink, imagine yourself letting go of resentment and comparison. Think of the water as a symbol of renewal moving through you. You are not drinking magic. You are reinforcing a decision. You are reminding yourself that you no longer want envy to control your emotions or financial choices. Take a breath. Notice how you feel. Then make one practical decision that supports your new mindset. Maybe you will stop checking someone's social media. Maybe you will create a budget. Maybe you will apply for an opportunity. Maybe you will finally begin learning a skill you have postponed. This is where reflection becomes action. Afterward, take the paper and, if you choose to dispose of it through fire, do so only with proper safety precautions. Better yet, you can simply tear it up and throw it away. As you do, say, I release this burden, I choose freedom, I choose gratitude, I choose wisdom. I will not allow comparison to control my future. Watch the paper disappear and let that physical action represent your decision to stop carrying the old thought pattern. You do not need to believe that the ashes themselves have supernatural power. The meaning comes from the choice you are making. Finally, extinguish the candle safely. Take one slow breath and recognize that you are beginning again. Your financial future is not changed by a candle, a glass, or a piece of paper. Real change comes through faith, wisdom, responsible action, disciplined choices, useful work, and the grace of God. The ritual is simply a reminder. Now, here is what you may notice. During the next day or several days, you may become more aware of how often comparison appears in your mind. You might see someone's success online and realize the familiar feeling is not as strong. Instead of thinking, why them and not me? You may begin thinking, I am happy for them, and I will focus on what I can build. That shift is important. It means your attention is returning to your own path. And do not miss this next point, because this is where the practice becomes practical. When you stop wasting emotional energy comparing your life with someone else's, you have more attention available for learning, planning, working, saving, giving, creating, and building the future you actually want.